I'm back in my bag, yo. Conscious. ISO. Down. Back in my bag and I ain't gotta brag, I do this shit for real. When we was down and we had nothing, we had to share a meal. We put the shit in overdrive with no steering wheel. Shorty throw that thing back in a pair of heels. Yeah, and she be riding on that thing like a Ferris wheel. Yeah, I love them dark skin, brown skin, caramel. You know I had to bring it to the hood like she Karen Civil when she keep on turning head. Cause when she walk that thing, jiggle, jiggle.
And we going back to back on them like we Huey and we Riley. This that back in my back flow, we back again so highly. This that back in my back flow, we back to change the climate. This that back in my back flow, we bring the force like Tommy. Back in my back flow. Back in my, yeah, back in my bag, yeah. I'm back in my, yeah, I'm back in my bag, yeah. I'm back in my, this is my, back in my bag flow.
Back again, yeah, we keep on.
Get ready to drop this K24 swap in here. So when you're doing this, it does help to not have the subframe, just less things to work around. And we try to put the swaps together as complete as possible, so there's less work to, you know, try to get into the intake manifold if you just leaving that on separate or other stuff. We even get the harness on there and everything else. The turbo manifold that we could put on the turbo kit. We don't install any of the mounts on there. We just kind of just gonna put them in loose in the engine bay and line everything up first. So we'll show you how to do that. So first you want to just kind of line it up to where it's going to go. This is on the lift, it makes it a little easier. We just kind of lower the car over it. If you do it at home, you have to just jack up the back end of the car really high, slide the motor in there, and then lower the car down. So either with the really big jack, or some people hoist up the rear of the cars to an engine hoist and kind of lift them up, and then just slide them in. I mean, I think you could put it in from the top. I haven't done it, but from what I hear you can. But for me, it's just a lot easier just to slide it in and throw it in from the bottom. So first we'll put the passenger side in. We'll thread it into the engine side first. So I throw it in the 3 bolts in the block and leave it with a little bit of room to move. And then after that we do the chassis one. And this one sometimes takes a little bit of finesse, but you just need to play with the angles a little bit. Okay, so we got this side in, and it's a little bit on the loose side, and then we're just going to snug that into the engine all the way, but not fully tighten it, so it still has a little bit of play. So now we're going to take our driver's side mount, and then you will have to wiggle this a little bit into place. Actually, first you'll have to raise up the car a little bit. Then everything else you could leave somewhat loose. And then once you get the subframe in, you could go ahead and do the subframe mount, and thread that in, and then do the firewall mount, thread that in, and then work your way back and tighten everything up. And then we'll show you that once we get there. Okay, here we have the front and the rear mounts. This is the rear that goes on the subframe here. And there's the firewall one. That goes to the firewall, that goes to the transmission with those two spacers. So we got the rear bracket in, and it's just loose. We also try to leave the subframe a little bit loose just in case you need some room. So those are going to go right in there, and the reason you relieve the two passenger and the driver's side mount is so that the motor can rock. So basically, so you could tilt it back. So when you do that, it's going to line up those holes, and then you just thread those in. So I just got those hand threaded in there just so everything's nice and loose. Then we're going to go in and put this bracket on here. So just like that. So there it is. The bracket, just leave it a little bit loose to give yourself some wiggle room. And then you're just going to take this mount and you're going to slide it in here like so. So I'll get that done here. So kind of just slide it in here, line it up with these holes, and then throw the spacers in. So I got those kind of hand tight in there. Just make sure you don't cross thread them. And then what you're going to do is you're going to just tilt this motor back to line up this mount. So I tilted the motor, but then you see it has that play back and forth. So what you could do is I usually just tighten this down by hand, and it kind of sucks it in where it needs to sit. So I would start here and bolt everything back up tight, and then work your way back to the rear one and tighten everything up, and then drop the car and tighten up the passenger side and the driver's side, and then you will be done. So that one's done, and then we just come back here and tighten this one up. Okay, we got all these tightened up, and these are all snug down. Everything's tight down here. Now we're going to lower the car and tighten up the other mounts. Okay, now we've got it down. Now we're just going to tighten up these mounts here. And we can tighten up the 17 going through the track. And we'll come over here and tighten these up. Now our mount kits come with all 3 bolts, so you could remove the studs, or you could reuse your studs and just put 2 nuts on there. And then that's it. This is all installed. Got that one there. Driver's side, subframe, and passenger side. And these are always in stock at Toyonda206.com. With variable bushings, we have 65A, which is the softest, then we have 75, 85A grade, and then we have full solid billet aluminum.
Alright, so this entire setup is available for sale at Toyonda.com. You can buy a hot parts kit, which come with all of this side, the exhaust side, the turbo manifold, the wastegate, and the double exit or the center exit exhaust, or you could get the stock location exhaust, or you could get an up pipe. You could also buy the intercooler kit, which comes with the intercooler, the bracket, and all the intercooler pipes. And then you could basically purchase everything and put your car together. You don't have to do anything. You don't got to weld, do nothing.